As a DevOps engineer, your real customers are the developers of the application. And one thing that the developers demand from you is performance, optimization and performance. My application has been deployed to your infrastructure. You are in charge of the infrastructure. Make it perform exceptionally, make it perform optimally. And the reason they demand this from you is that their own users demand it from them. Users of a banking application are not going to wait 2 minutes or 1 minute, 60 full seconds for a bank transaction to be successful. Are you joking? They want it done in seconds, real time. Once I click send, I want the receiver to receive that money, real time, or at least near real time. And one way you can easily achieve this is using Redis. The flow of most applications is as simple as this. A user makes a request, and that request gets to the server. That server needs to respond to the user with the data that the user has requested. But that data is saved on the database. So the server, the application, queries the database, gets that data, and sends it back to the user. That's the flow. Best case scenario is that everything is on one computer. If I'm doing something on my computer and something is saved inside my laptop, that's the fastest way that I can get that information. Just click and it comes back to me. But in this scenario and most applications, you're working with a distributed system where the server is somewhere, the user is somewhere else, and that flow has to happen sometimes over different countries. That is where latency is coming in, right? And the server also has to make a request to the database. That's also a bit of latency, right? And the database itself saves data on the secondary storage that is in disks. Disks are made to store data. They're not really designed for speed and performance like the primary main memory, which is the RAM. If you have a database that stores data on the RAM, it's going to be a very fast database. And we do have a database like that. Redis is a data store that stores data in memory. That is, it stores the data instead of in a secondary storage, it stores it on the RAM, and that makes it a very fast database. But you can't have your entire database on your main memory. That's either going to make the main memory slower or it's going to be really expensive. So instead of having Redis as your main database, you can use it as a cache. And what that means is that you have your real database that is storing all of your data in the disk. And when the request comes in, if this is the first time this kind of query is coming into your application, you make that query and make that request to your database and get that data. And then that data is saved as a form of data structure like a string or a hash on your cache, which is Redis, and it's available in memory on Redis. And then you respond to the user with that data. So the next time that same request comes into your application and you need to make the same query to the database, you don't need to ask the database for that again. You can just check for it on Redis and get the same response and send it back. And that makes that process a lot faster. If you're a DevOps engineer and you set something like this up, most cloud providers have a managed service for Redis. AWS has ElasticCache for Redis, Azure has Azure Cache for Redis, and GCP has their own managed solution for Redis as well. But if maybe like me, you want to manage Redis by yourself, you can set it up in your Kubernetes home lab or your Kubernetes cluster using Bitnami, or you can use the direct official Redis Helm charts to set that up easily, and you have that running. I hope that helps. All right, I'll see you in the next one.